Welcome to Dr. Jester Talks, and I'm gonna talk about this. From The Aviationist. Check out these new photos of the Italian F-35A and B flying together in beast mode for the first time. Remember, to actually give you a bit of a context, these specific F-35s they are made in Italy and assembled there by the partners of Lockheed Martin. So these are Italian-made F-35s. So you know, they're awesome, isn't it? And those airplanes, the F-35s, despite the propaganda that usually comes from Russia, and other idiots that do not understand how aviation works or how airplanes are made. I'm looking at you, F-15s, F-14s, especially all the teething issues you guys had at the beginning of the development. And I'm not even counting on the other airplanes from other countries. For instance, the PACFA, or the Su-57 Falcon, has a bit of an issue with engines. They had the airplane done before they could actually have the engine. They failed to make the engine. They failed to actually take into consideration that their engines were not up to the task. Or that the new engine would take so long to make, not only counting the errors in the design and other things. That plane has very little stealth built into it. Even the F-18 Super Hornet is more stealthy than that airplane. And that's saying a lot. Alright, so let's get back to the F-35. So, okay, wrong key, no, wrong key, there you go. In November 26, 2020, the Italian Air Force carried out the first ever training mission with the F-35 in beast mode. During the test, an F-35A and an F-35B, the F-35A is the fighter version, and the F-35B is the vertical or short and vertical takeoff Jesus Christ English, aircraft of the 13th Gruppo Squadron of the 32nd Stormo Wing, based on Amendola in southeastern Italy, and flew together in internal and external weapons for the very first time. Beast mode is usually dedicated when you're dealing with a stealth airplane. It means that this is a system or a way to carry more weapons late in war. When you're dealing with a stealth airplane, they usually, in the very first few days, they go with all their weapons shoved inside the airframe. So that way they can keep their stealth features. But when the things start to wind down, for instance, the air defenses and other things like that start to not become a threat anymore, or not of a big of a threat, then they take then they go full shebang. They strap weapons up the wazoo on the airplanes, and that's how it's done. Interesting, isn't it? All right. The F-35 carried out 4 GBU-12s on the external pylon and 2 AIM 120 AMRAAM air-to-air missiles. I suppose that might be the C version, because of the it's the most modern version, where the F-35B carried 4 GBUs-12s. Nice. Interestingly, among the images released by the Aeronautica Militare, two showed the aircraft flying formation in F-35A with the open base, and the B in STOVL, short takeoff or short takeoff vertical landing mode. As you can see here. Let's see, there you go. As you can see, they actually have the full beast mode. The first one you see on the left of your screen is the F-35B, and the one that you're seeing on the right of your screen is the F-35A, usually dedicated for air forces, and the one on the left side usually dedicated for Marines and the Navy in general. The Navy also has a special version with a slightly larger wing that also has a larger fuel payroll or larger fuel. That's usually for, well, you know, you're in the middle of the ocean, so you usually need more fuel, and that's usually those airplanes are usually required to take off on a catapult. That's another reason why you need a bigger wing, because with a bigger wing you have more lift. Despite this airplane here, the entire body of the F-35 being a blended wing. So the entire body you see of the F-35 is a wing. As I already explained in detail, beast mode is not an official technical term, but it has become a pretty common way an F-35 configuration involving both internal and external loads has been dubbed as opposition to a first day of war loadout, in which the F-35 will carry weapons internally, just like I said initially, to maintain low radar cross-section and observability. The third day of war configuration is expected to be used from a third day of an air campaign, when theoretically enemy air defense assets, including sensors, air defense missiles, gun systems, and enemy aircraft, have been degraded by airstrikes conducted by F-35s in stealth mode, or the first day of war, as mentioned in the article, and the battle space has become more permissive. In such a scenario, the F-35 no longer relies on low observability for survivability, so it can shift to carrying large external payloads, or external loads. Those conditions are not always met. For instance, low observability, or LO, was not needed when the F-35 was called to carry out the first airstrike in the Middle East, nor when the US Marine Corps F-35B carried out the first airstrike in Afghanistan. If requested within a permissive scenario, the F-35 can be configured in beast mode, giving up the low observability while preserving the sensor fusion, information gathering, and information sharing capabilities that allow us to achieve the information superiority required effective decision-making capacities at various levels, told the commander of the 13th Squadron in an official release. One of the things that the F-35 has over the other airplanes, and I haven't seen a single airplane quite like it, is the sensor integration of the airplane. The entire airplane is a camera. It's so good that when the pilot moves his head around like this or up and down, he can actually see through the cockpit, through to various cameras and positioning of the image. It's amazing. In fact, the sensors of the F-35s are so damn good that they can actually spot a thermal image from miles and miles and miles away. And there was even a footage from Northrop showing the capabilities of the sensors of the nose of the aircraft in that regard. It showed the rocket launch from NASA. I think those are 8 years ago or so when it was made. The airplane was miles and miles away, and they could actually focus, track, and maintain track on that rocket. It's amazing. This airplane is amazing, which is why many of the detractors actually hate it, because they know the F-35 is a game changer. Anyway, let's finish the article, shall we? The mission on November 26th marked the various Italian firsts, first starting in beast mode for both the F-35A and B models. First formation flying in this configuration for 2 types, for first short takeoff and landings of the F-35B in beast modes, and a mission supported by the Riparo Sperimentale Volo, the Italian Air Force test wing, based at Pratica di Mare, as part of the F-35 OT and operation test and evaluation, and also by various group support teams, whilst involved in the preparation of the execution of the flights with the peculiar payload config. The continuous string, okay, it doesn't matter. So basically what I'm trying to get is the F-35 is an amazing airplane. No other air force in the world, or country has a plane that even comes close with the amount of sensor integration. Not even the fucking Chinese who stole the information from America, from Lockheed Martin, to develop the, I think it's JF-21 if I'm not wrong. They still don't have it. Nobody has that sensor integration. This is a huge game changer. So it is always good to see these airplanes paying off. And before you say, but the costs are so huge, billions and billions and trillions. No. That's the cost from the very first line of the prototype to the very last drop of fuel that is going to be used on the F-35 whole operational span. The F-35 is in fact the first airplane or the first weapon design using this new calculation system. So that's why when you see it, it costs $3 trillion or something like that. No, that's a lifetime cost of the airplane from the very first prototype to the last airplane flying. So, interesting, right? Either way, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to also hit the notification bell button if you want more of this, or whatever this was for you. Even though you may actually be taking a dookie right now and watching my video. I approve of this. So, thank you for watching. Good night.